Hey guys, thank you for joining us tonight for this discussion with candidate for Roane County Executive, Wade Creswell. I am Sean Franklin, I'm your host tonight. And tonight, Wade, we really just want to get to know you a little bit, so thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, it's so great to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity to sit here and talk to you, get to tell my story a little bit, and then we'll talk about some of the issues that are a little challenging in Roane County right now.
Yeah, certainly. A lot of things facing Roane Countyans right now, and that's one reason you ran. You wanted to make a difference. Tell me a little bit about yourself and kind of why you decided to do this.
Well, I'm a grandson of two World War II naval veterans that moved here, one from Birmingham, Alabama, one from Dandridge, Tennessee, to work at Oak Ridge. It's a common story of a lot of people that I know whose grandparents moved here to work here, and both settled in Kingston, raised a family of 4 each. 2 of those were my parents, and they settled in Kingston, and then my sister and I chose to settle in Roane County to raise our families as well. And I grew up in Kingston, graduated from Roane County High School in 1992. I went to Roane State, got my associate's degree, went to East Tennessee State University for my bachelor's, and later on went on to University of Tennessee to get my master's in business administration. After I left ETSU to come back from Johnson City, I worked at Roane Medical Center as a registered nurse, and that began a 25-year career of opportunities, really, where I had the opportunity to really work in leadership and management positions that have really prepared me for this opportunity. And when this opportunity became available, and we really, as a family, looked at it, talked to people across the county that I trusted their opinion and really understood the situation, it just became apparent that this was my time. And I've chosen to commit to it in significant ways, and I'm excited about where we are right now. And I'm looking forward to talking to you more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know going through all of that and being a registered nurse with all the experience that you have, I'm not sure that you ever envisioned yourself as a politician. What was that like when you kind of came to that realization?
If you go back to, so my first real introduction to somebody who was excited about politics, man, this is so good, it's going to date me so much. But one of my favorite shows growing up was Family Ties, and Alex P. Keaton I was in middle school watching that at the time, and he was excited about politics, and I don't know why it got me thinking about it, but it did. So I really started following then and became kind of a news junkie. And as I grew up and I came back home, I had an opportunity to run for Kingston City Council in 2003, and I was only 29 years old at the time, but that was my first foray into local politics. And it was really out of the desire to serve my community. And I got really involved in my community, overcommitted for the first of many times in my life in community service.
But funny how that works, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But I learned so much in those 4 years on city council. I mean, as much as any 4-year stretch in my lifetime, about people, about government, and about how things really work and how to get things done together. And that just kind of, I've always kind of had that burning desire in the background, but no real specific aspirations. And that wasn't the case this time too, until just opportunity presented itself, and it just aligned with where I was in life and where we were as a family too.
And it seems to me throughout your career, one of the main themes has been commitment. And I know to be in this position, it's going to take some major commitment. Why do you think your career has prepared you specifically for this?
Oh, that's a great question. I like how you put that too. So we got to cover some history in my career then. So as I left the nursing clinical setting in early 2000s, I was able to serve at Michael Dunn Center in my first administrative managerial position. Working still in healthcare, but not on the clinical side, managing a staff about 35, and as my career went on, I was a pharmaceutical sales representative for a little while, which really taught me on a whole different skill set. But then I came back to Michael Dunn Center as Vice President of Development and Public Relations and Healthcare again. Managing a larger staff, managing large budgets, being responsible for planning and executing those budgets, That led me from there. It was a great opportunity to serve as a president and CEO of the Roane Alliance. I had no experience in economic development at the time, but those almost 5 years that I was at the Alliance were some of the most rewarding times in my life. The ability to serve my community in that role and pick up that skill set to recruit and attract and retain business, to help grow businesses and bring people together, that really lit a fire of passion for bringing people together to solve big problems. And we were able to do that in so many different ways when I was at the Alliance. I did have an opportunity after I left there, though, to go to Oak Ridge National Lab and community relations, dealing with a lot of the same people. And then, and my last stop was at East Tennessee Children's Hospital as the Director of Development. So it's a long and winding path. But as you sit and look at what is needed in this position, a county executive position is the fiscal agent for the county, as established by state law. That person is responsible for planning and executing what will be next year a $132 million budget. You've got to have somebody that's got the education and the experience, who has prepared a budget and presented it to a group of people, had to get approval for it, and then was held responsible for executing it in a way that again received the approval from those who were overseeing. I did that for 4 different organizations when I was at the Roane Alliance, and we were successful in doing that. So again, all of those pieces that I just described gave me unique perspective, unique experience to prepare for what the county executive has to do on a daily basis.
Yeah, and I think also, to me, you're very much a people person. And people are great because they connect with others. And I know throughout your career, you've done that successfully. And I know the county executive is going to have to do that as well. So why is your personality fit for the job as well?
Well, like you say, I love people. And I've talked to folks, I hope they've just seen I have a heart for wanting to help people. And I'm not saying that in any way to brag. It's just what I want to do in life. And to do that, you've got to connect with people where they are, no matter what situation they are in life, no matter what they've gone through, no matter what they're going through, so that you can be relatable, and that you can connect with people in a way that they understand that you're genuine, and that you're going to listen to them and have their best interest in mind. That's the way I try to treat everybody that I come across. And it's just who I am. So I don't know how to be any other way, really. But this should I be blessed enough to be elected in this position, it gives me a unique opportunity to be able to put that into action in ways that I never have before.
Yeah, it's true, and you'll probably have some big needs to tackle should you be elected. What do you think right now is the biggest need that Roane County faces right now?
Yeah, so there are a lot of different ways to break that question down. And I'm a native Roane Countyan, and I've watched Roane County be stagnant, particularly in areas of growth related to our neighbors. And I believe that the biggest reason that we have not grown is the fact that we've been so divided for decades. And we're divided 6 ways just geographically. That's not including class, that's not including any other descriptor you can think of. Just in community geography, we were divided 6 ways. And Roane County has always been, each of those communities have kind of isolated themselves from the other communities. That has prevented us from working together in ways to tackle our big challenges the way other communities around us have. So the number one problem I believe Roane County has is division. I think, and just philosophically, division is weakness and unity is strength. I'm passionate about bringing people together to solve problems. It's what I enjoy and I'm passionate about, I am experienced in. It's what I want to accomplish. And we've not ever really tried it in Roane County to bring people together to say, okay, here are our problems. Let's sit at a table, let's establish what our common ground is, and let's figure out how to tackle this issue in ways that we can all buy into. Until we do that, we're going to talk about some of the issues that we're facing here in a minute, but until we do that, we're never going to be able to tackle these issues. we're always going to pull in our own directions, and we're never going to be able to make progress on any of them. That's my primary reason for running, is because it's what I want to do, it's what I'm good at, and it's what I feel like our biggest need is.
Well, yeah, and it sounds like that's both your priority and in a way that you'll be tackling that priority, that need, is through teamwork.
Yes.
You and I both know, working in any workplace, you got to have teamwork. You got to have people willing to listen. How does teamwork figure into what your plans are for Roane County?
Yeah, I mean, so again, if you go back to that, we're divided 6 ways. You know, I mean, you've got to have multiple teams working at multiple levels to be able to accomplish big, bold things for Roane County that improve our quality of life for everybody. So, I mean, I think that starts initially, obviously, at the team closest to the role. So making sure that you surround yourself with people who have the skill and experience and the heart to be able to, you know, serve together, not to be yes men in any way, but to bring their opinions to the table so that you come out of that situation with a clear direction and purpose and a plan. Well, that you can take that and just apply that at every level too. So not just on the staffing level, but working with county commission, being able to help the county commission do, you know, what I've just described, and finding common ground and understanding we're all here for the same reason. Yeah, we come from different communities, but we represent the county as a whole, and if we understand where we're coming from, we can establish where we're going, we'll figure out what the plan's going to be together. But you've got to be intentional and purposeful to do that. So teamwork is absolutely essential to everything that I'm describing.
So Wade, you mentioned about division and how Roane County is divided, in your opinion, in 6 ways. Tell me a little bit more about that, and let's dive in deeper to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got 6 very distinct communities in Roane County. I mean, a lot of people think 6. Yeah. So you got Kingston, Harriman, Rockwood, Oliver Springs, Midway, and Oak Ridge. And a lot of people forget that a large percentage, geographically especially, of Oak Ridge is in Roane County. Most of the Oak Ridge Reservation is in Roane County. Each of those communities are very distinct from the other communities, and they all have so much community pride in who they are and in their history and their, you know, just their identity. So it's very important, and in no way do we want to necessarily disrupt that. But there are areas that we are challenged that are going to require us to really be able to cross some of those boundaries and work together in ways that we probably never have before.
And I imagine partnerships, that's going to be key. In fact, I imagine that's a huge theme in your campaign, is you want to build those partnerships, and part of that is trust. What does trust mean to you when you think about team building and partnerships?
Trust is the basis of all relationships, and life is relationships. To get anything done of meaning requires trusting, working relationships. It's the bedrock or foundation from which anything worthwhile is built. So, you know, one of the questions I get asked sometimes, what are you going to do your first 100 days? Well, what I would do in any new situation or focus on is build those key relationships. And in certain areas, it's not people that you're working with every day, but it's people you got to reach out to in other organizations, other communities, even neighboring communities throughout the region. Partnerships are key. If we, you know, the old saying about the rising tide floats all boats. Well, for us to be able to really benefit from that type of scenario, you've got to reach out across boundaries and divisions and establish good, trusting, working partnerships or relationships. You know, it's the essential ingredient to any progress.
So Wade, you had a strong background, and have a strong background in economic development, and I know one thing that Roane Countyans are looking to this position to hopefully expand is growth. People want to see the county grow economically. So what are you going to do about that, and how does your background help you see a strong economic future for Roane County?
Yeah. I loved my time at the Roane Alliance. It was, again, one of the richest, most rewarding times of my career because of what we got to do together as a team representing our community and to drive growth. The reason why growth is so important is because, you know, we're living in a time of the highest inflation of many of our lifetimes, right? Well, the same is true for county services. It becomes more and more expensive to do anything. Well, so that means that what the services that we're providing as local government, it's more expensive as well. So that means there's only three options that you really have as a local government to address those types of pressures. You can cut those services because they become too expensive, and we don't want to reduce any of our services to our people. You can raise taxes to pay for them. None of us want to raise taxes at a time with high inflation, right? We want a lower tax rate, not higher. Or you can grow. Those are really your only three options, because if you grow your economy and there's more revenue coming in because of that growth, you can afford to pay for those services that are becoming more expensive, or you can afford to do capital projects. You can afford to add more services, improve services. That's why growth is so important. And what the general public doesn't get to see most often is what goes on in the economic development process, in the day-to-day business of recruiting, marketing, or in retaining business, marketing to or retaining business. It is a daily grind that never stops. People may see an announcement, or it may be in a while since we've had an announcement for a company to locate, and they wonder, well, what's going on? It's a daily process of outreach, of answering, of putting yourself in the best possible position, of investing in infrastructure. Those are things that the public never gets to see. Those are things that even elected officials may not necessarily understand goes on behind the scenes, but it's happening, and you get to see the results of it in spurts. So, for example, there were 3 certified sites in Roane County, and 2 of those recently sold this year. And by certified site, the state of Tennessee will come in and say, this site meets, it's an industrial site ready for relocation. This site meets a high criteria of qualifications that we can market to global prospects and tell them that this site is a good site for you to locate. Well, we had 3 of those in the county. 2 of those just sold. One was to a developer that's going to put a 250,000 square foot building that makes it even more attractive for a high quality employer to locate in. Wow. Another site in Rockwood just sold to an existing business that's going to allow them to expand and add jobs. And then in Horizon Center in Oak Ridge, the site there has been sold to a nuclear-related company. So we've got growth high quality growth in these sites, but that's not our biggest opportunity for growth even. So what that means is that our inventory of industrial sites is decreasing, meaning the land that we have to offer companies to come here to locate we don't have as much of it as we used to. So again, we have options. We need more of it. So does that mean we acquire more land and pay for it and then develop it from scratch? Or there's another great possibility out there. A 30,000 acre Oak Ridge Reservation, most of it lies in Roane County. The Department of Energy owns it, and they want to and have worked as really good partners with our county to help transfer some of that property to the private sector and make it available for development and for recruitment. 3 companies in the nuclear industry have recently announced on the reservation. Those are really high quality paying jobs. I think there's an excellent opportunity to work with our federal contracting partners and with the Department of Energy to focus in on the reservation and create opportunities for growth that do not impact our small community identities. It's really a fantastic situation that we find ourselves in if we make it a priority and we focus on a plan to help make that the area of growth for the county that really lifts our ability to grow what the tax dollar's worth.
So Wade, you mentioned the first certified site. Sounds like you had a pretty developed role in making that happen as part of the Roane Alliance.
Yeah, it is a lengthy process for any community to get a site certified by the state of Tennessee. And to have the 3 that we did made us a very unique community. In the Jones Road site, Roane Regional Business and Technology Park, it was several steps that got it to a point where we could finally sell it recently, to put that building on there. Everything, when I was there, one of the things, or several of the things that we worked on was it didn't have a road to it. You had this site, but you couldn't really get to it. You get around it, but you couldn't really get to it, so we added a road to it using TVA grant money that we were able to procure, county money and state money. And then we were able to add sewer out to the end of that. But that was still, we still weren't getting the hits that we needed on companies wanting to locate there. So through more grant funding and partners coming to the table, we graded the entire site. So after all of that, those are some of the process that it takes to get there. But my time at the Alliance, helped get that site prepared to where we are today, and we're really excited about when that building gets built. There's going to be a company coming there, bring lots of jobs that are really going to help make a difference for our families.
So Wade, I want to have the opportunity here to ask you a little bit about some of the negative things that you've heard. Why have you changed jobs so much? Is that a question you get a lot on the campaign trail?
Oh, Sean, I'm so glad you asked me that question. I do get asked that sometimes, and I love to answer that question because it has a good answer. I'll say this. If my grandfathers, who I talked about just a few minutes ago, both retired from the same jobs that they came to Oak Ridge to work in. My one grandfather may have changed it a little bit, but anyway, basically the same job. And if they knew that I had changed jobs like I had, I'm sure they may ask me the exact same question. But the truth of the matter is, I'm proud of the opportunities and have been so blessed to be able to work in areas and with people in organizations that have given me such a unique experience and perspective. Every time that I've changed, it's been because of opportunity. It's been because I've had an opportunity to grow my career and it was best for my family. And I'll always be in a situation, look for those opportunities, not necessarily an elected role. Obviously, it's a different scenario altogether. But that's the story of my career, is that I've been able to grow in every single opportunity, and I've also had the chance to explore new career pathways that, again, have prepared me for this role. Had my career had not taken the same twists and turns that it did, I don't know that I'll be running for this office right now, because I don't know that I could say that I'll be as ready as I am having had those experiences.
And I know Roane County 4 years ago, in fact, I covered this story as a local reporter here, the mega high school. That was a big, big deal. I imagine for some people it still is. What's your opinion on the mega high school? Tell me a little bit about it, and what you would do possibly as county executive.
Right. So let's do some history. In 2017, the Roane County School Board had worked with an architect to develop a plan for consolidating high schools. And after a lot of discussion among the school board, they chose a plan that combined 5 into 1. The plan also included Roane State Community College and TCAT Harriman, where both of those institutions would have been physically a part of what the county school system was trying to build. And the promise that they offered, or the advantage to our students that would have offered, was that every single student in the county would have had the opportunity to graduate high school with an associate's degree, a TCAT certificate, or at the very least some college. And people who have some college are more likely to go back to college to complete. Educational attainment is directly related as a demographic to almost every other demographic. The higher the educational attainment in any given community, the better the demographics are in that community. Lower poverty, lower drug use and addiction, lower crime. So educational, if a community is able to raise its educational attainment, you have lower incidences of those things that you try to decrease in a community. That was the advantage of that school. So because of that plan, the Roane County Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, the Roane Alliance Board of Directors, and the Industrial Development Board of Roane County all voted to support and promote that plan to help build support across the county as the school board was educating people about what it was. So as the president and CEO of that organization, it was my job to be the one who was out there sharing the information and giving those presentations. And I did my job. So as people ask me, weren't you for that school? Well, I was for a greater opportunity for our kids, and that school certainly would have created it. You know, I've got a rising freshman right now, and for him to have the opportunity that model afforded was something that I certainly was looking forward to. What we learned after that, the county commission did not approve that plan, and what we learned was that community identity for each of our 5 communities that school would have served was such an important factor that most of our communities just weren't willing to make that trade-off. So the county and the school board invested in Oliver Springs campus significantly and created a STEM high school and are moving the high school kids to the middle school and making that one school, which was what that community wanted. The community itself invested in that school and has created the situation that it wants for itself. Midway High School, the county is also investing in that campus to address some issues. So you've got our 2 outlying communities that the county has invested in and has really kind of removed them from that discussion and equation that existed 4 years ago. But that still leaves 3 schools, Rockwood, Harriman, and Kingston, that still have not been addressed and still face some serious facility challenges. My position is this, and I'll approach this 2 ways. My position is the schools in neighboring communities. You pick a direction. You want to go north, you can go to Anderson County High School or even Oak Ridge High School. There are more opportunities in those schools than our kids have in Roane County. You can go east to Loudoun County, Lenore City High School. Those kids have more opportunities than our kids have in Roane County schools. You can go south to Ray County and Ray Central. You can say the same thing. You can go west to Cumberland County and Stone Memorial High School. You can say the same thing. I want those opportunities that our neighbors have for our kids. What model that comes in and what that looks like, I don't know. I don't really even care. I just want our kids to have those opportunities. To get there, though, here's the key to how we get there. The school board has brought forward plans, but without any guidance from county commission on what's going to work. So almost flying blind to say, okay, this is what we want. We don't know what you want, but we're bringing it, and it hits a wall. It's got to start with county commission. The county commission has to provide parameters to the school board to say, here's what we have to have, here's what we can't have. And here's what we agree that if you bring back to us, we'll listen and we'll consider it. I want to be, as county executive, I want to serve in a role that helps the commission establish what those parameters are and take it back to the school board with an agreement that if a plan's brought forward that meets these parameters, that we can have a healthy discussion about how to move forward to educate our kids and provide the same opportunities that they have in the neighboring schools.
Sounds like a great plan.
That's a lot there to unpack, and I understand that, but I really believe, after a lot of perspective after 4 years, that is the path forward.
So August 4th is the election. If, let's hypothetically say you've got a voter who's a little bit on the fence a little bit about who to vote for, right, and you have a chance to give them one last message before they go and they go to the polls, what would you say to them?
I would say that I am committed and dedicated to serving this county in a way that helps us overcome our challenges that have held us back for my entire lifetime and even probably decades before. My background, my family history, my education, and my experience, and my passion for our people have prepared me and put me in a position to lead this county in a way that will help us move forward in ways that we haven't in my lifetime. That's my heart, that's my passion, that's my reason for serving, that's what I bring to the table. And that's what I want to do as Roane County Executive for the people of Roane County, for all people who call Roane County home.
Well, awesome, Wade. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Certainly learned a lot about who you are and your priorities moving forward for Roane County, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean.